welcome back to the Alyssa Bliss list. My name is Alyssa and today I'm going to be showing you a compare contrast between the Huda New Nude Palette and the Revolution Pro New Neutrals palette. Supposedly the New Neutrals palette from Revolution is an exact dupe of the New Nudes palette from Huda Beauty. So let's get started, let's find out. So first things first, I've prepped with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 01. And the first shade I'm gonna go in with the Huda Beauty palette, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Love Bite, and it's just that shade right there. And keep in mind, I have not used this palette before. Just gonna pop that into the outer corner. I'm just gonna keep packing on the Love Bite shade to get the full extent of the color. All right, and now for the other eye, I'm going to do the same, but with the shade Majestic from the Revolution Pro palette, and that's that purple right there. There's a lot more fallout from this palette, and the shades are slightly different, but we're gonna try and make it look as close as possible because this is a dupe of the Huda Beauty palette. It's always so much harder to do eyeshadow on this eye than this eye, so that's like a complete different color. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I found that the Huda Beauty palette on the shade Love Bite was a lot more patchy in its application than Majestic, but then again, it also is more of a purple, whereas Majestic is more of a grayish purple. Like this is more of a grapey purple. This is more of like a, I don't know how to describe it, but it looks more grayish than that. I didn't have to pack as much on this side as I did on this side, so maybe this is more pigmented. I don't know. I don't know. The next shade I'm gonna go in with on the Huda Beauty palette is the shade Spanked, and it's gonna be right next to Love Bite. It's this shade on the far right corner over here. And I'm just gonna use that with the Luxie 243 Precision Blending Brush and kind of just blend out the edges of the purple, the Love Bite color. That blended really, really well. I am like shocked at how well that transition went between the shade Spanked and the shade Love Bite. That is stunning. Now I'm gonna go back in with the Revolution Pro palette, and for that I'm going to be using my M506 brush from Morphe. I'm gonna go in with the shade Zone, which is right next to the shade Majestic on that palette. So it's this shade in the far right, just like on the Huda Beauty palette. Pop that on my other eye as the transition color. Yeah, I'm finding there's a lot more fallout. And this Zone shade is a bit more patchy. I'm really hoping I'll be able to blend that out. I'm gonna try blending that out with a bit of a lighter color because that's really harsh, whereas this is really subtle and I'm not really sure why. Maybe I gotta go back in with the Majestic and see what I can do. I had to go really far out on this one, so maybe I'm just gonna touch up this one a little bit to make it kind of reflect that. Okay, we're looking good. We're looking okay, I should say, because it doesn't exactly look identical. Okay, so far this is the Huda Beauty eye and this is the Revolution Pro New Neutrals eye. And I cannot say that this is a dupe for this. I really can't. But you know what? We're gonna keep going and see how identical we can make them. The next shade I'm gonna go in with on the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette is gonna be the shade Kinky, and it's a shimmer right over here. I'm just gonna take my LaRousse LR112 blending brush, dip into that, and place that right in the middle and kind of blend it outwards. That is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it in this lighting or my angle, but oh my God, that is stunning. Okay, now back in on the other eye with the Revolution Pro Nude Neutrals palette, I'm going to go in and use my Morphe M456 brush and take the shade Hidden, which is supposed to be the dupe for the shade Kinky that I used on the other eye. Take that and tap that right in the middle as well. Okay, so those shades are actually pretty close in comparison. However, the shimmer from the Revolution Pro palette is less of a duochrome than the Kinky shade. Not that the Kinky shade on the Huda palette is a duochrome, but it's definitely got an extra something to it. So, I mean, can you tell? They're both very nice, don't get me wrong. I think those, however, are the closest shades in comparison with the shades that I've used so far for this look. So back to the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette. Because the shades in the Revolution Pro palette don't exactly match the shades in the Huda Beauty palette, I'm gonna have to go in with the shades Lace and Daydream, these two purples over here, to kind of match the shades Calm and Jazz It Up on this palette. The Huda Beauty New Nudes palette has a lot of these like rocky, stony, textured shades, whereas the Revolution Pro palette only has one, and that is the Jazz It Up purple color. Right now, I'm gonna go in with the shade Lace on the Huda Beauty palette, and that's gonna be this shade right here, the purple, and or maybe it's more of a lilac. I'm just gonna pop that on my inner corner right over here. So that lace color is actually more of a pinky than a lilac. In the pan, it looks a lot more lilac than how it's coming out. And just kind of meet up with where I blended out the Spanx shade. And this is another shade you really have to pack on there to get the full extent of the pigment. So for the other eye, back in with the Revolution Pro New Neutrals palette, I'm going to be using the shade Calm, and that's this shade right here. I'm just going to be using the Morphe M124 brush to pop that on the same way I popped on the shade Lace on my other eye. Yeah, this one's definitely a lot more purpley than this one. And I was kind of expecting that to be one of the closest matches, which is not the case. I feel like I'm gonna have to go in with another shade to kind of balance that out, because if you look, they are significantly different, and I was not expecting that. Maybe I'll go in with the shade Karma on this palette. Let me see what brush I could use. No, I'm just gonna use the same brush, tap that off, brush it on my hand. Yeah, I'll just use the same brush and go in with the shade Karma, and maybe try and fix that up a little bit. I might regret this. It's actually looking kind of better. Now they look a little more comparable. And if you could see the amount of brushes I'm using, because I'm using a different brush for every shade, you would not believe it. My desk is a mess right now. So going back in with the Huda Beauty palette, I'm gonna be using the shade Daydream, and that's a stony, pebbly, textured shade right there. Waiting for the lighting to go up. I'm just gonna take my Morphe M224 brush and apply that. No, I think I'm actually gonna apply that with my finger and then blend it out with the brush. Because that looks so good. I don't know if you can tell on the camera or not. I dig it. So on the other eye, I'm gonna go in with the exact same shade. It looks like it's the exact same shade at least. And it's the shade Jazz It Up, and it's this shade right here. I'm really hoping that it applies the same. I'm gonna go back in with my finger. I did wipe it off with a baby wipe. Apply it with my finger and then maybe blend it out with a brush. Okay, it is not the exact same shade. So the one on this side is a lot more glittery than the Huda Beauty one on this side, which is a lot more like a shimmer. I don't know if you could tell. But it doesn't look bad, it just does not look the same, if that makes sense. For the under eye, I'm just gonna be using the shades that I used on the eyelid and just blend them across the bottom. So now that I've done the under eyes, I'm just gonna pop on some eyeliner and mascara. See what I did there? Anyways, for my eyeliner, I used the Too Faced Better Than Sex eyeliner. Favorite eyeliner of all time. And I used the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes mascara. And that's a waterproof mascara. It comes in a very pretty purple packaging. And now I'm gonna do my lips really quick. For my lips, I'm gonna be using the Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle Plush Matte Lipstick in the shade I Quit. That just looks like this right here. I haven't even used it yet, so it still has the FB logo on it. And that did turn out a little more brown than I thought it was gonna be. So on top of that, I'm just gonna apply the Fenty Beauty lip gloss in the shade, well, it's called the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fussy. That's what it looks like right there. That looks a lot better. All right, I'm just gonna take my hair out of my headband and I'm gonna show you the finished look. All right, guys, this is the finished look. I honestly think they're very, very similar. And they both worked very beautifully. I still do notice that the Huda one is just a bit higher of a quality than the Revolution one, but all in all, it's a pretty good dupe for the palette. I would say that the metallic shimmer in the shade Kinky in the Huda palette is a lot more wet looking than the dupe shade in the Revolution Pro palette called Hidden. But I really do think that you could get away with either and say it's either or. If you're not quite ready to take the plunge and buy the Huda Beauty palette, I would say definitely get the Revolution Pro Nude Neutrals palette because it's very, very similar. I have to say I am very, very pleased with my purchase with the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette. Now, just for fun, I'm gonna go ask around and see if people think that this is the high-end eye or this is the high-end eye, and kind of see the different responses. So I just thought that would be a fun part to add to the video. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back and everyone guessed that this was the high-end eye and they guessed correctly. They did say, however, that when I backed up, that you couldn't tell the difference. All in all, I really do like the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette, and I think it does stand out more. The colors are a lot more pigmented, and it's just a better quality palette overall, but they are pretty dang close. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and in the comments below, please feel free to leave your thoughts about this video, as well as any product recommendations or video recommendations, challenges, whatever you want to really see on this channel. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.